The end times began when the sky turned black at noon.
So a friend recently asked me if I'm a sadist, and I asked him what he meant, and he said, well, basically on Steam recently, all I've seen you play is games that are about diving deep into the ocean and experiencing the true terrors of what's down there, either real or fiction. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. I've been playing Dave the Diver, I've been playing Subnautica, I've been playing the really terrifying, for me anyway, parts of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, where basically sharks are trying to hunt you down and kill you in enclosed spaces, which is just the worst. And so, yeah, I've been playing a game called Dive or Die, so let me tell you all about it. So using reference points for me is a really quick way of getting people's brains like switched on to what I'm talking about. So if I mention a game called Dredge, or if I mention a game called Dave the Diver, or maybe one called Darkest Dungeon, if you get any of them games, that's kind of like the theme of this game. And so if you combine all three of them, that's kind of what you get with Dive or Die. So the basic premise for Dive or Die is that this rain has started, and it's this black, perversive rain, and anyone who has contact with it eventually becomes insane and either kills himself or kills anyone around them. Yeah, not good stuff. And so humanity's been kind of avoiding this rain for however long it carries on for, and it's rained so much that the entire planet is just filled up and the oceans have risen to the point where the only refuge left, the only dry land left, is these mountaintops. And so these like ramshackle shantytown type things have been sprung up, and that's kind of like where we join the game. Now the rain eventually does stop, and when it clears, humanity, what's left of it, sees what the cause of all this was. This gargantuan creature, this rainmaker that they see as a god. And every 40 or so days, this creature comes along and basically covers the entire settlement you're in rain and ocean, and wipes away whatever's left. And so they then pick up themselves and carry on, I assume. That's kind of what happens. So you start the game, and after a couple of dives, you get introduced to the clock, and you basically have 40 days to finish the game. Now, the game is split essentially into two parts. You've got the management of the settlement, which is building new buildings, recruiting new settlers, taking care of events as well, and managing resources. That's kind of like the thing. In this mode, you have an infinite amount of time. You can sit and think and ponder all your decisions. The second part of the game is diving. Now, every day you dive down into the ocean, and basically you've got objectives. You've got to gather resources while staying alive and trying to uncover what is going on and making a path forward. Your ultimate goal is to find these idols, which you then bring back to the surface and place on your like memorial. This homage to the Rainmaker, in the hope that at 40 days have passed, you will have appeased him and the settlement will survive.
Feel it, do you? The Rainmaker's gaze.
So the settlement is covered in many different structures, and each one has to be manned by a survivor, and then it functions as what it is. So obviously, like the workshop, that's where you create items and you manufacture ammunition for your weapons, that kind of thing. And you've got things like the lighthouse. That's where you send out expeditions onto other little small islands to gather resources and other settlers. You've got things like the infirmary, where it's like, say if somebody gets injured or has like a mental condition, you put them in there for however many days and they hopefully recover. You've also got a library, which allows you to look at a map, and any area you've uncovered and found navigational charts for, you can then plan your dives and see where you need to go. And the library also is where you collect these scraps of paper which give like a story background to what's going on. They're not that revealing, they're just quite dramatic and quite creepy, but yeah, that's where they're all stored. Now, the two main resources for the game are hunger and like the mental health of the settlement. Each one goes up to 50, and then eventually you can get it a bit higher. But yeah, essentially you're going down into the depths, and as well as resources like iron and copper and other things, you're also collecting these mementos, which kind of like remind them of what life was like before, and it gives them like a mental boost. And then you're also collecting sources of food, like cans of food, or further on, you get like food crates. And this is quite important because you have to balance this resource, so these resources, with the actual resources for building new equipment or like fending off attacks and things like that. Now, one of the main structures of the game is the altar. Very important because this is where you place your idols once you find them down in the depths. So you go down, you find these like glowing bright lights, and once you enter them, you're treated to these quite creepy like side-on stories where you kind of like watch a character or a couple of characters like going through their last moments, and you find out how basically everything unraveled as the rain started to affect people. So as the days tick by, you gain experience for each settler depending on what they've been doing. Now, I've only ever had one or two divers, and the rest of the settlers are manning stations on the island. And like I said, they man the different structures, and that's kind of like what they do. Now, there's an experience thing, like I said, and as they gain experience and levels, you then choose their path, their skills. And these skills usually will complement what they're on. So let's say you've got someone on a lighthouse, you'll give them a skill that makes expeditions a bit more successful. Or if you've got somebody who's manning the diving station, then what you want is skills that give the actual divers more inventory slots. I think it's quartermaster, so that's really a useful thing to have. Now, as you get further into the game, you're going to realise that you're going to need specific items to upgrade the structures to the highest level. And so you find these in hidden chambers, you find them after defeating certain like boss encounters, and yeah, just generally some of them are really easy to find and some are incredibly hard. And you can also find these serpents of the sea, which are incredibly creepy things that hum as you get near them. And then when you feed them a certain resource, they kind of open their mouths into this big gape, and they allow you to access an area which you've not previously been able to access. But the whole thing just is this game through and through. It's so creepy the way they do it. I think it's worth spelling out that this game is not for the faint of heart. It's quite a difficult game, and even when you think you've got things like battened down and you've got things under control, the game will then throw something at you and will undo all of your work in a couple of seconds sometimes. Your best diver, who you've invested all your time and resources and they're like got all the skills you need, they'll come across something you've not seen before and they'll be dead like in a second. And you just sat there thinking, well, that's it, I'm going to have to start again. And sometimes you do, sometimes you get one of your secondary divers and you train them up and you carry on. That really is a choice for you. But yeah, this game can really just punch you in the gut in any given moment. Another way the developers have kept this game interesting is that every day is not the same. Sometimes you'll be on a clear sky and the weather's fine and you'll just do a normal dive. On other days, you'll have things like a red blood moon, and the creatures in the ocean become more aggressive, you take more damage, and you have to fill a gauge to like get an achievement. And then once you've done that, you get a buff for the next day, so it's like a risk-reward type of thing. And there's other days where the entire ocean has no starlight, and this unkillable creature is hunting you down in the water. And it really is a choice. You either have to decide to go down there and try and get a few resources before getting out of there, or just not bothering at all and missing a day. But in doing so, you know that your clock is ticking down, and that's a vital day you may need to finish the game. As for the game's visuals, I think they're perfect for this game. Obviously, you've got like a Lovecraftian kind of thing going on with the theme of the game, and they've definitely tapped into that with the visuals. So, like for example, when you've got a diver that dies and they come back up, they're all like mangled and deformed. I like the descriptions of some of the conditions as well. Like they've really gone into really graphic descriptions you had in, like, say, the Darkest Dungeon. As for the dives themselves, again, they've put a lot of work into how the game looks and how the game plays. So there's plenty of detail throughout different creatures and different environments, and they've used lighting as well to a great effect. There's one part in particular I remember where you go down quite deep into one of the wells, and I won't say what it is, but this huge creature is basically stalking you, and you've got these like shafts of red light coming out of a structure. if you enter the red light, the creature then sees you and then just comes at you. And for me personally, it's just absolutely terrifying. And you just want to get out of there as fast as you can. Yeah, absolute horror. They've also used a really nice graphical technique called parallax scrolling. So that's basically where you're going along in one dimensional plane, and in the foreground and the background, you'll have different items or structures or creatures. So, for example, you'll have like a floating corpse in the foreground, and it's kind of like blurred out, so you can just make out the shape of it. And that gives you the feeling of depth for the game and gives you like a sense of perspective. So, yeah, really well done for that. So, do I recommend Dive or Die Children of the Rain? And the answer to that question is very easy yes. This is a great indie game, very well made, no bugs, no crashes, and the game runs really well in terms of performance. So, I've been playing on my desktop mostly, but then at night I've been playing it a little bit on my Steam Deck, and the game runs perfect for that. So, yeah, if you're looking for a game to take on holiday with you, this could be the one. And so there we go, guys. That's my review for Dive or Die. And yeah, it's been an absolutely fantastic game. I'm actually going away in a couple of days, so I'm going to take my Steam Deck and take this one with me, start a brand new save. But I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you're playing at the moment and if you're planning to pick this up. Hope you're all well, and I'll see you in the next review. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.